And joining us now, cybersecurity expert and CEO of Trusted Sec, David Kennedy, and senior fellow at the Brookings Institution and former national intelligence officer for Russia and Eurasia, Angela Stent. She is also the author of Putin's World, Russia Against the West and With the Rest. All right, we spoke a couple days ago, Angela. Any day that Putin does not invade Ukraine is probably a good day. But where are we right now, as you see it?
Well, I would say we're in a holding pattern. Putin is still keeping us guessing. Yesterday, he made some conciliatory remarks. He said, give diplomacy a chance. President Biden, of course, said the same thing in his speech. But as your reporters have said, we have no proof that they're withdrawing any of their troops, even though they say they are. So they could keep this tension up for some time and keep us guessing and keep us off balance, really. So it's not a great position to be in, but it's better than having an invasion.
So, David, we saw these cyber actions yesterday against some Ukrainian institutions. How would you actually describe the scope and size of them? And what would be a significant attack? When would we know, or how would we know, that the Russians are unleashing the full force of cyber?
Yeah, this one was more of a warning shot, again, to completely put pressure onto Ukraine on all fronts, cyber, military threat, everything else. And so they knocked out the defense ministry website and several banks. In the grand scheme of things, this is a very low attack in consideration of what Russia has previously done in the past. In 2015, 2016, they took out their entire energy sector, their energy grid, shut down the country. They also did in 2017 a major ransomware attack. Russia's capabilities in the cyber front are very good in comparison to us in the United States as well. We're direct peers. So this is more of a warning shot to continue pressure, saying, hey, it's not just military. We also have all of these other options on the table as well. And, you're basically being warned that if we do go to war, it's going to be very painful for you in every way, not just from a military capabilities perspective.
Yeah, and David, the Biden administration is trying to assure Americans that they are ready for this. Of course, we've seen vulnerabilities, though, here in recent years. Is America ready for deterring a cyber attack?
We've been making a lot of progress over the past several years. There is the recently stood up organization, the Critical Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, that's been working on protecting our critical infrastructure, which is one of the most vulnerable. But we're still definitely not prepared for an all-out, cyber warfare with another nation state. Our infrastructure, our grid is ancient. We're trying to kind of retrofit it and bolt it on to get it more secure. But if we were to go toe-to-toe with an attack against Russia, it'd be very painful here in the United States. And that's definitely something that Russia looks at on the table. How do we create fear here in the United States to put pressure on the Ukrainian policies for us to have to pull back? So this is definitely another avenue that they have from a bargaining chip perspective that everybody's looking at, not just hitting Ukraine, but also can they hit, the global economy? Can they hit, the United States from a cyber warfare perspective and cause a lot of pain and chaos back here to shift our policies in the Ukrainian side of the house? Those are all things that everybody's looking at from a defensive perspective as well.
Angela, I want to ask you, there are some analysts looking at this saying that President Biden has successfully, at least until now, flipped the script on Vladimir Putin. And even though he's the one with 154,000 forces surrounding Ukraine, Vladimir Putin is the one having to react right now. Thomas Friedman writes in the New York Times this morning, if Vladimir Putin opts to back away from invading Ukraine even temporarily, it is because Joe Biden, the guy whose right-wing critics suggest is deep in dementia, so deep in dementia he wouldn't know Kyiv from Kansas or AARP from NATO, that Biden has matched every Putin chess move with an effective counter of his own. Is the diplomacy so far? Is what Biden so far is doing working?
I think it is working so far. We haven't seen an invasion. Of course, we don't know whether there was ever going to be one. I would put this a little differently. We had to react to the Russian agenda. So in the beginning, we were presented with these ultimatums and we had to respond. We had these meetings with the Russians. But because we have been so explicit about telling the Russians that we know what you're doing, we know we know what your plans are. You may be planning a false flag operation. I think that has made the Kremlin sit back, Putin sit back. I don't think they'd really expected that because in 2014, when they annexed Crimea, we were really caught off guard. So I think this has been effective. I thought the speech yesterday was effective, offering diplomacy, saying that we have nothing against the Russian population, and just warning Putin. Now, having said that, we don't know yet whether there's going to be an invasion, but it may have made them think twice about taking military action.
We had retired General Spider Marks Angela on earlier, who he has some experience when you're talking about planning an invasion. And he said, this Russian troop buildup may seem large, but if they really wanted a comprehensive, broad invasion, Russia would need several hundred thousand troops. And it's only a fraction of that. So what do you make of that?
I think that's true. They couldn't occupy Ukraine with that level of troops. What they can do is intimidate. They're trying to get concessions, right? They're trying to get the West to say NATO will never enlarge again. It's going to withdraw to where it was in 1997. But this is not a force that could occupy the country. But they could deliver a blow to the capital, Kyiv. So again, this is why a number of people think that an invasion was never really planned. The whole point was to pressure us, to pressure the West, to pressure Ukraine, and then get concessions.
Angela, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being with us. And David Kennedy, thank you so much.